Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kaplan Field here in Newburgh, New York for the second half of a Saturday afternoon doubleheader. If you weren't with us earlier, the Farmingdale State Rams took down the Mount St. Mary Knights women's team to a score of 1-0. And here on Senior Day for the Mount St. Mary men, they look to fare better also against Farmingdale State. This is a matchup sure with playoff implications, much like the women's game. The Knights, the home team, come into this contest at 2-2-3 in conference play, good for 6th place, making them the last team in the playoff picture. They're ahead of Old Westbury, who sit currently at 3-5. Farmingdale State 3-1-3, one more win, one less loss. They're good for 5th in the conference. So it would be a huge win here for the Mount. If the home team could pick up 3 points, that puts the two teams at the same record and would give the tiebreaker advantage to Mount St. Mary. So there is a lot riding on this game. The season does end with a midweek game, the 29th for the Mount St. Mary men, so they do still have a week and a half left of games, but this surely would be a good win to ensure any possible tiebreakers, especially since the Knights, of course, are the last team in the playoff picture. The Knights have broken the huddle. The Rams, wearing green, are all commiserating just to the left of the midfield circle, putting the finishing touches on whatever pregame preparation they were getting into. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is a gorgeous Saturday early evening, a little bit chilly. Fall weather certainly making itself felt. The Rams break the huddle, and ladies and gentlemen, we are about ready for action. This should be an interesting contest. We're hoping it's as advertised. The women's game certainly was. We are hoping for a victory for the home team, of course, in the least biased way possible. That ball is kicked away, and ladies and gentlemen, it's time to party. Doing the honors for Farmingdale in the center circle, that's Josue Granados. And now are the Rams. That ball early finds its way back to the goalkeeper, Vass Dallas. Dallas swings it back out, gets it to Omar Hernandez. Hernandez will leave it for Jason Veliz Perez. Veliz Perez fires upfield just out of the reach of Johnny Guillen, and the Knights are able to force a turnover for the first time today. Quinn Tynan's pass up ahead, that one knocked away. And now come the Knights, it's Tyree Baskin Jr. Baskin Jr. with speed. He's picked up by Tynan. He'll swing it towards the middle of the field. That pass just behind the intended target, Granados. That ball still bouncing around. Gutierrez knocks it down now. He'll swing it back for Hughes. Hughes works it now for Gutierrez. Gutierrez back for Bevavino. Bevavino wearing a bright pink captain's band. The usual 3 captains for Mount St. Mary, Marco Mazzarelli, Quinn Tynan, and Sam Bevavinos. That ball's rifled upfield. Mazzarelli in pursuit. Anthony Ortiz, good job just sending that one out of play, but it'll be an early throw in here for the Mount. 44 minutes to play, an early minute here into the contest, as Wallace will leave it for Welsh. Welsh leaves it for Tynan. Tynan boots that one upfield. Nobody home. Checking on it is Mark, but Dallas will just let it go out of play untouched. Goal kick coming for Farmingdale. So, of course, the women lost earlier, 1-0. The men hoping for a better result, and again, this game incredibly important for the Mount's playoff chances. That ball's booted up ahead. Ortiz rifles it upfield. That ball cut off by Allison for the Mount. Here's Allison up ahead, gets it to Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli operating in the Knights attacking third. He'll leave it up front for Mark. Mark picked up by Hernandez. That ball still loose in front. Mazzarelli can't quite get a shot off. Now here's Guillen. Guillen works it to Granados. Granados gets it to Tyree Baskin Jr. Baskin Jr. picked up by Wallace. Picked up then by Allison, who tries to get it to Guillen. Pass just behind him. Mazzarelli leaves it up front, and the Knights are offside. So the Knights knocking on the door early, some aggressive offense to start the game for Mount St. Mary. And for a Knights team that has been on the schneid lately, they haven't won in any of their last 3 games. They tied against Purchase 2 weeks ago. They tied against Merchant Marine, and they recently took a loss at Mount St. Vincent last weekend. So the Knights, again, like the women's team, are playing this game on a full calendar week of rest, while Farmingdale is coming off a midweek win over Haverford, or midweek loss to Haverford. So the Rams look to right the ship as Noah Horn slides out of the goalie box, makes the save. Looking for any open man, thought about throwing it a second time, will now just swing it for Allison. The Knights will operate through their defensive core. Allison picked up by Baskin Jr. He'll send it upfield. Mark giving chase, also giving chase, that's Anthony Ortiz. Ortiz knocks it down, will fire it towards the tennis courts. That one ends up out of play. It'll be a throw-in for the Mount. Ryan Keyser doing the honors. Geezer will leave it for Ethan Wallace. So Wallace to throw it in along the far sideline. Pretty friendly field position for the Mount here early. Wallace fires it in, gets it to Geezer. Geezer knocks it down, swings it back, gets it to Welsh. Welsh is passed for Gutierrez. Gutierrez, good job handling that. We'll leave it for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli back towards the middle of the field. It's Bevavino. Bevavino just outside the midfield circle, lines up, fires, sends one in deep. Giving chase is Wallace, playing it off a bounce is Dallas. So the Knights again knock on the door, but no serious opportunity yet. Hernandez will leave this one along the near sideline for Veliz Perez. Veliz Perez swings it back, gets it to Josue Correa. Correa back across the field. Gets that one to William Guillen. Guillen now to Carlos Hernandez. Hernandez back to Guillen. Back out of play. It'll be a throw-in for the Mount. Right in front of the bleachers, just to the left of the statistician's table. Throw-in coming from Wallace. That one fired in. Mazzarelli, the intended target. He's able to knock it down. Works around Welsh. Welsh setting a screen for him. Mazzarelli picked up by Hernandez. Mazzarelli swings that one back towards the middle. Hughes giving chase. Plays that one off a bounce. Sizes it up. Can't get a shot off. That one blocked in front by Naboa. That one will end up out of play. It'll stick with the Knights and a good offensive start here early. Liam Hughes to throw it in. He'll get it to Gutierrez. Gutierrez will field switch. Sends that one back across. It's Wallace. Wallace backing up. He'll make a play on it. Baskin Jr. comes over to play defense. Wallace will leave it upfield for Welsh. William Guillen, tight defense. That one ends up out of play. The Rams want it to go the way of the Rams, and the referees agree. Throw-in coming now for Farmingdale. The Knights were under the impression that the ball was to stick with them. So Hernandez to throw it in. That ball played off a bounce. Allison now gets it to Gutierrez. Gutierrez back for Tynan. Tynan for Mazzarelli. Back to Tynan. Tynan now up ahead, gets it to Mark. That pass picked off by Jason Veliz Perez. The Knights have spent a lot of time in Farmingdale's own end, yet to put a shot on goal, as Mazzarelli works the ball back. The ball now on the Knights side of midfield. Bevavino will swing it across for Allison. Allison makes a move. He'll work it upfield. That pass blocked. Carlos Hernandez got a foot in there. That ball's still bouncing around. Giving chase is William Guillen. That'll end up out of play. It'll stick with the Knights. Mount St. Mary looking for their first shot on goal. They've certainly had most of the possession, at least so far, as Welsh tried to get around Baskin. Did so successfully. Now for Gutierrez. Gutierrez picked up by Ortiz. He opts to swing it back for Wallace. Wallace swings it back up ahead for Welsh. Welsh guarded tightly, forced to get rid of it. Leaves it for Gutierrez. Baskin Jr. in the area. He picks up Wallace. Wallace sends that one towards the middle, giving chase is Hughes. That pass tipped up by Dallas. Good defense there. A pass sent in deep from Wallace, a leaping effort from Vas Dallas, and Dallas, after a hard fall, is shaken up. So Dallas, a leaping effort to knock that ball over the top of the cage. The referees running the appropriate tests. Wallace up, standing in the box under his own power. He appears okay. So TJ Mark set to take the corner kick for the Knights. Bunch of Knights in deep. Mark just leaves it for Gutierrez, who swings it back to Mark. Mark has a step on Hernandez. He'll fire that one towards the middle. Bevavino sizes it up, lets it fall. Mazzarelli, that ball dribbling in front. Dallas got a foot on it. We have a whistle and some sort of violation. Either way, that play just waved off as that ball ends up just to the right of the cage. So, I mean, that will end up out of play, out behind the line. And once Dallas gets his shoes tied, it will presumably be a goal kick. Tying your shoes in those big goalie gloves those goalies wear, surely not an easy task. As Dallas places the ball in the corner of the box and just kicks it away. That one rifled up ahead for Ortiz. Giving chase is Granados. Granados can't quite get up to it. Allison sends it straight up, leaves it now for Wallace. Wallace picked up by Baskin Jr. It's Quinn Tynan coming away with that for Mount St. Mary. That ball finds its way all the way at the feet of Vas Dallas, the 6'2 freshman from Garden City, South New York. Leaves it now for Omar Hernandez, back to Dallas. Dallas picked up by Keyser. He's forced to kick it away over the head of the intended target, Jason Veliz Perez. That ball continues to bounce around, coming away with it, Carlos Hernandez. Mazzarelli takes that from Hernandez. Mazzarelli cuts on through. Physical contact there with number 4, Omar Hernandez. No whistle, no foul. Dallas wastes no time getting rid of the ball. Blast that one towards the Farmingdale bench. It'll end up out of play. last touched by a Ram. So Liam Hughes to throw it in for the Mount. Hughes fires it on in, tried to get it to Keyser. Keyser, good first touch, left for Mark. Mark working outside the box, leaves it out for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli swings it now, here's Welsh. Welsh inside, that shot blocked. Good defense there from William Guillen, but the Knights offense looks good here early. So that one, Karam's out of play, off of a Ram. It'll be a throw-in from, again, a very friendly spot on the field for the Mount. It'll be Ethan Wallace, just a few shuffles to the right of that back left corner flag. A few shuffles to the right, all right. And now here's Gutierrez. He's guarded tightly by Correa. That ball continues to bounce around. Somehow still he's in play, ends up out of play, out on the Mount. And the referees signal it was out on the Mount to begin with. So that throw-in just absolved. That ball quickly thrown in by Wallace. Mark will play it off a bounce. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he can. Bouncing around in front. Leaping effort from Omar Hernandez. Coming over now is Luka Naboa. Naboa sends it straight up. Hughes comes in on defense, as does Tynan. Tynan leaves it for Hughes, who tried to get it back to Tynan. Naboa got a foot in there. Gutierrez now back to Tynan. Tynan guarded by Hernandez, who gets it back to Hughes. Naboa still guarding Hughes. TJ Mark guarded tightly by Velise Perez. Here's Dale Allison operating outside of the midfield circle. Has a little bit of room to operate. Coming on in assistance is Correa. Correa able to force a turnover. That ball kicks straight up. Correa will swing it now for Granados. Granados now guarded by Bevavino, and here come the Rams. Here's Baskin Jr. Baskin room to operate. That shot blocked off the foot of Tynan. Tynan, of course, one of several seniors honored before the game by the Mount, and Tynan, of course, one of the three usual captains for the Mount. 35.5 minutes left to play. No shots on goal for either side, and we'll get the first look at the Farmingdale offense as they're finally operating deep within the Knights' own end as that ball was blasted off Cam Welsh. It'll go out of play, and it'll be another throw-in. Doing the honors is William Guillen. Guillen will swing it to Josue Correa. Correa tried to get it back to Guillen. Guillen, leaping effort, gets a head on it, but he collides with Ethan Wallace. The referee blows the whistle. And so the first Farmingdale opportunity deep in the Knights' own end ends rather unimpressively. And just try to say that 5 times fast. The first Farmingdale opportunity. Now here's Allison just outside the box. It will be a free kick. In the vicinity in green is Josue Granados. Allison will just place kick way upfield. Leaping effort. Good job wearing that off the head. That's Correa. Here's Tynan. He's guarded tightly by Johnny Guillen. Liam Hughes, that pass just out of his reach. Can't quite corral it. That'll go out of play. Last touch by a Knight. Here's Velise Perez to throw this one in. Fires it over the head of Tynan. Takes a bounce and then goes over the head of Granados. That ball's still bouncing around. Neither side is yet to come down with it. Mazzarelli tied up with Hernandez. Bouncing around. It'll go out of play, but it will go the way of the Knights. Hughes thought about it. Now quickly gets it into Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli open. Quickly closing that gap is Luka Naboa. That ball still bouncing around. Gutierrez tried putting the moves on. The double team just too much. Correa swings it back for Naboa. That ball still bouncing around. Hughes sliding effort to poke that one away. It'll be out of play. Last touch by Hughes. But a throw-in from well within their own end coming for the Rams. That ball fired in. Thrown rather impressively. Going to get it is Bevavino. He couldn't. Knocking that down is Allison. Allison will swing it just to his left for Hughes. Hughes gets it now to Gutierrez. Gutierrez back to Hughes. Hughes rifles it upfield, knocked down by Keyser. That ball still bouncing around. Keyser and Mark collide. Mark able to come away with the ball, quickly triple teamed. Good defense there from Omar Hernandez. That ball continuing to bounce around, ultimately ends up out of play. Mark will leave it for Hughes. Hughes commiserates, weighs his options. He'll just throw it in short for Gutierrez. Gutierrez rifles that one upfield. Mazzarelli is there. Mazzarelli has room. It just takes a bounce just out of his reach. And an easy save off the one hop for Vass Dallas. But ladies and gentlemen, the Knights offense certainly knocking on the door. The pieces are there. As that ball continues to bounce around, that's corralled by Johnny Guillen. Guillen loses it. They will say it was last touched by a Knight. Guillen gets confirmation. He'll leave it for his teammate, William Guillen. So William Guillen will throw this one into Correa. Correa swings it for Ortiz. Ortiz back to Correa. Correa well downfield, leaves it for Omar Hernandez. Hernandez back to Correa. Back to Ortiz. Ortiz, that pass goes off the hand of Welsh, but it ends up out of play. So No objection really from either side. That ball bounces around. Baskin Jr. will leave it now for Guillen. Guillen working against Mazzarelli, able to get around. Rifles that one across the field. Wearing that off the chest is Noboa. Noboa, excellent first touch, leaves it now for Velise Perez. Velise Perez picked up by Mark. He'll swing it upfield now. Leaves it now deep for Noboa. Noboa goes down to get it. It will go out of play, out behind the end line. It will be a goal kick now for Mount St. Mary. Noah Horn set to do the kicking duties, another one of the seniors honored here earlier before the game, from Merrick, New York. So Horn will leave it for Bevavino. Bevavino for Hughes. Hughes up ahead for Mark. Mark back for Tynan. Tynan picked up by Guillen. Tynan now has a step on Guillen, will fire it upfield, has that pass picked off by the other Guillen. William Guillen pushes it upfield, tried to get it to Baskin, that one taken away. Still bouncing around, gets it now back for Johnny Guillen. That ball continuing to bounce around. Luca Noboa now along the near sideline. Noboa tried to get around Hughes. Hughes, good defense, but Noboa able to work his way around. Noboa centering pass. That one picked off by Bevavino. He'll get it to Gutierrez. Gutierrez upfield for Keyser. Keyser guarded by Hernandez. Hernandez puts a move on. Leave it again for Carlos Hernandez, who swings it to the ref. That ball goes off the ref. The referee will call a stoppage in an unrelated event. So it will be dropped and immediately played by Johnny Guillen. Guillen will leave it now for Ortiz. Ortiz for Correa. Correa will swing it all the way back to the goalkeeper, Dallas. Dallas corrals it. He'll swing it now for Omar Hernandez. Hernandez up ahead for Correa. Correa for Velise Perez. Velise Perez tried to get upfield. That pass taken away by Hughes. Hughes up ahead for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli guarded by Correa. He'll swing it off to his right. Here's Tynan operating out of the center of the field. Coming in is Guillen, forces a turnover. Guillen gets it to Correa, who gets it back to William Guillen, who tried to get it to Tyree Baskin. He does. Baskin Jr. now with a step. Tynan coming in on defense to assist. Tynan getting a foot in there. He leaves it now for Wallace. Good defense there and transition there from Mount St. Mary. Gutierrez now operating, sends it back. Here's Allison. Allison across the field for Bevavino. Bevavino operating out of the center of the field, works it upfield now, will blast one up ahead for Hughes. Hughes, can he stay onside? Yes, he can. Good first touch, but that ball left just behind him. Taking it away is Velise Perez. Velise Perez swings it back towards the middle. Here's Hernandez. Hernandez back for Ortiz. Ortiz back up ahead for Hernandez. Hernandez guarded by Gutierrez, so he'll leave it for Baskin. Baskin picked up by Welsh. He'll leave it for Guillen. Guillen back to Ortiz. Ortiz across the field for Velise Perez, and the Rams very methodical here with their passing. Back to Correa. Correa now, and the Rams finally move the ball past midfield. Here's Guillen, or Granados. Granados to Noboa. That one ends up out of play. Throwing it in is Velise Perez. Velise Perez throws it in, playing it off a bounce is Johnny Guillen. That ball still bouncing around, finds its way back to Velise Perez. Velise Perez gets it to Correa. Correa guarded by Tynan. He'll swing it across for Granados. Granados gets it to Hernandez. Hernandez across the field for William Guillen. William Guillen sends that one towards the middle of the field. Getting a foot on it is Granados. Still bouncing around and unable to corral it are the Rams. Tynan harnesses it, sends it upfield, giving chase to Keyser. Anthony Ortiz right there with him. Keyser up along the far sideline, stops on a dime, turns around, swings it back downfield for Welsh. Welsh, that pass never got off the ground. Correa sends it right back upfield. Now it's Ethan Wallace again. Wallace gets it to Welsh. Welsh quickly picked up by a couple of Rams. Baskin Jr. forces the pass. Here's Mark. Mark gets it to Gutierrez. Gutierrez operating well at the top of the key. Had an angle for a shot. That shot blocked. Karam straight up. Takes a friendly bounce now. Gutierrez tries to get it to Mazzarelli. Does. Multiple parties timed up, but the whistle is blown. I believe a free kick coming from Mount St. Mary. And again, a pretty friendly part of the field. The referee giving a slap on the wrist to number 17 in green. That's Carlos Hernandez. So Bevavino is certainly close enough to shoot it. That ball 10, 20 feet just outside the top of the box. A very friendly angle. So we'll see what Coach Kevin Longacre decides to draw up. Bevavino certainly looks poised to let him shoot. The senior captain on senior day winds up, fires just high. So the plan is to let Bevavino shoot, and that shot did not disappoint, just high. Certainly got enough power on it, just fired it over the top of the cage. And your score remains 0-0. Here's Hernandez, gets it to Feliz Perez. Feliz Perez guarded by Mark. Mark chasing Feliz Perez. Feliz Perez forced to pass, will leave it. Tried to get it up ahead for Noboa. Hughes on the takeaway. That one will end up out of play just to the left of the Farmingdale bench. It'll stick with Mount St. Mary. Hughes thought about it. Thought about it again. Looking for the open man. Will leave it for Keyser. Keyser guarded by Hernandez. Keyser will leave it for Hughes. Hughes back towards the middle of the field. Mazzarelli on a cut. Almost had it. And now here's Carlos Hernandez. Hernandez for Baskin. Here's Baskin Jr. Stops on a dime, turns it upfield. Now here's Guillen. Guillen gets it up ahead, giving chases Granados. Bevavino beats him there, rifles that one out of play. Onto the tennis courts for a souvenir. That one obviously ended up well out of play. Was last touched by Bevavino. Throwing it in is Guillen, who swings it to Guillen. Guillen gets it back for Hernandez. Hernandez thought about it, operating just outside the midfield circle. Now cuts upfield. He'll boot this one away. Gets it to Luca Noboa. Noboa plays it off a bounce, goes off the top of his head. Good job by Noboa just to keep that one in play. The referee says otherwise. And so Hughes now to throw it in. Hughes fires it just over the head of Feliz Perez. Soaring in for Farmingdale is Correa. Good job to get a foot on it. But it will be a throw in again for Hughes, this one from right around midfield. Actually, Hughes stops right in front of the Knights bench. Thought about it, now fires up ahead. Tried to get it to Keyser. That pass goes off the chest of Keyser. Karam's behind him. On that for Farmingdale is Omar Hernandez. Bevavino leaps, gets ahead on it. Also leaping ahead on it is Johnny Guillen. The referee sees something he didn't like, blows the whistle. Guillen pleads his case. The referee has no interest in hearing what he has to say. Bevavino swings it now for Hughes. Hughes up ahead for Gutierrez. Gutierrez guarded tightly by Granados. He's forced to swing it back deep. Here's Bevavino. Bevavino across the field now for Allison. Granados making the rounds for the Rams, but no face guarding yet. Gutierrez quickly pressured by Correa, forced to pass. It's a good pass. Field switch for Wallace. That pass picked off by Baskin Jr. Baskin Jr. quickly double teamed by Keyser and Marsh both. That ball still bouncing around, and it's Ethan Wallace taking it away for now for the Mount. Tried to get it to Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli couldn't come up with it. That's Correa on the takeaway for Farmingdale. That ball still bouncing around. It's Vast Dallas. Dallas leaves it for Hernandez. Hernandez up ahead, Feliz Perez. Mark comes over to check on him. Feliz Perez cuts towards the middle of the field. Out past, now past Gutierrez. Rifles that one out past midfield. Try to get it to Baskin Jr. That pass goes under the foot of Wallace. Wallace able to corral it. Blast that one into the chest of Baskin Jr. Farmingdale corrals it. Operating from the far perimeter of their attacking third. That ball swung for Hernandez. Hernandez in the middle of the field. Tried to send that one in deep. Goes off of Gutierrez. That was a loud collision as Wallace settles it for the Mount. That one's blasted towards the far sideline. Karam's off the fence, well out of play. Another throw-in coming, this one from Ethan Wallace. Wallace will leave it for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli plays it off a bounce, works it back across to the Knights side of the field. The Knights operating out of their own end. Wallace's cross-field pass picked off. Good defensive effort there from Granados, waiting for numbers. Granados up ahead, tried to get it to Noboa. Hughes was right there, picked off the tardy pass. And now it's Correa. Correa guarded on Hughes. Hughes now gets it to Mark. Mark thought about it. Now we'll swing it back for his goalkeeper, Noah Horn. Horn doesn't pick it up, kicks it straight off the ground. Gets it for Keyser. Keyser and Mazzarelli in the same general area. Keyser gets it for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli, good first touch. Tried to get that one through Ortiz. Ortiz got a foot on it, but deflected that pass off course. Correa picked up by Mark. Swung all the way across the field. Getting a foot on it is Guillen. Guillen is guarded by Welsh. Guillen will push that one upfield. Tried to get it to the other Guillen. Did so successfully. William to Johnny, that connection proving strong. That one a whistle, a stoppage, a foul, and a free kick coming for Farmingdale. 22:45 to play in the first half, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a fast game. Not too many stoppages. The only offensive statistic for either side, a corner kick for the Mount. So Guillen takes a deep breath. He'll swing it for Guillen, who gets it back to Guillen, who gets it now to Correa. who gets it back to Tynan. Now Tynan will work it upfield. Tynan gets that pass to Keyser. That pass blocked in front. Keyser now taken away, has that one taken away. Now here's Hernandez. Omar Hernandez working upfield. He'll blast it, giving chase is Granados. Horn is there to meet him at the top of the box. Almost collided with his own guy. Luckily, the Knights avoid any disasters. Horn will swing it now for Allison. Granados in the area. Nobody face guarding Allison yet. Allison pushing it towards the middle of the field. Now he'll kick it upfield. Try to get it to Keyser. Right there is William Guillen. Dallas swings it back to Guillen. Guillen now for Baskin Jr. Back to Guillen. Guillen now will swing it for Ortiz. He's guarded by Keyser. Ortiz gets it back to Guillen. Guillen guarded by Ethan Wallace. Ethan Wallace and Guillen, lots of hand-holding. I will end up out of play, or that will, result in a whistle. Now here's Dallas. Dallas gets it back to Ortiz. Ortiz directing traffic a little bit, tried to get it to Guillen, couldn't. Mazzarelli now picks up the loose ball. Mazzarelli with a step, he's working on Correa. Mazzarelli gets it towards the middle. Keyser for Mark. That one blocked, still loose in front. Mark corrals it, leaves it for Keyser. That ball bouncing around the top of the box. And it's out of harm's way for the time being. And ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to get a chance much better than that. As Tynan works that one back towards the middle. Dallas falls on it, can't corral it. That ball's still loose. And finally corralled by Vass Dallas. And Farmingdale dodges a bullet. Good defense there. And good heads-up goalkeeping. Now here's Baskin as the Rams look to turn some defense into offense. Baskin eludes the slide, now works it back towards midfield, cuts through the midfield circle. He's guarded fiercely by Tynan. Baskin leaves it for Hernandez. Hernandez upfield, gets that to Allison. Allison sends that one up ahead. Mark giving chase. Can he keep that in play? No, he cannot. That one ends up out of play behind the end line. Another goal kick coming for Vass Dallas. Dallas now figures out what he wants to do with the ball. Leaves it for Ortiz. Ortiz kicks it upfield. Backpedaling is Granados. Leaps, can't get a head on it. Dale Allison just behind him. He does get a head on it. Farmingdale comes away with the ball anyway. Guillen will swing it to Noboa. Noboa face guarded by Hughes. Coming in to help is Gutierrez. That ball turned over. Now here comes TJ Mark. Mark swings it now for Keyser. Keyser guarded by Hernandez. He'll swing it back for Gutierrez. Gutierrez leaves it now for Tynan. Tynan tucks it away across the field for Keyser. Keyser swings it for Hughes. Hughes guarded by Noboa. Hughes sends it across the field. Leaping effort for Welsh. That pass just over his head. Giving chase is Guillen for Farmingdale. Kept in by Baskin. Baskin guarded by Wallace. That one ends up out of play. The referees are going to say that ball was last touched by Wallace. So it'll be William Guillen throwing it in for Farmingdale. Guillen looks for the open man. Swings it now for Ortiz. Ortiz back for his goalkeeper. Dallas doesn't pick it up. Swings it now across for Omar Hernandez, and Hernandez falls, allowing Mark to come down with it. Mark flicks that one towards the middle. Mazzarelli gets a body on it, plays it out of the air. Still bouncing around. Mazzarelli works now through, trying to create any sort of separation. Ortiz slides. That pass still loose in front. Goes off the foot of Carlos Hernandez, and very nearly an own goal. As coming into the contest for the Knights is number 30, Jeremy Burgos. The Knights looking for some size here as Cam Welsh comes off. The corner kick coming from TJ Mark. Perfect time for the 6'5 Burgos to check into the game. Mark sends it in deep, out of reach of anybody. Allison gets a head on it. That ball's still bouncing around the box. Guillen knocks it down for Farmingdale. He'll fire it upfield. Wallace leaps, can't get a body on it. Here now is Granados. Granados will leave it now for Baskin Jr. He's picked up tightly by Wallace. Wallace forces the pass. That one taken away by Gutierrez. Here now is Tynan. Tynan just outside the midfield circle, operating out of his own end. Tries to put the moves on Guillen, forced the pass. Now it's Burgos. Burgos freshly into the game will swing it for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli tried to get that one back towards the middle of the field. Getting a foot on it is William Guillen. Now here's Luca Noboa in transition. Noboa leaves it up ahead. Giving chase, Jose Correa. Correa knocks it down. Tries to put some moves on now. Granados. Granados guarded fiercely by Allison, and Allison forces the turnover. Good defense there from the Mount. Gutierrez leaves it for Bevavino. Bevavino now for Hughes. Hughes rifles that one upfield. Wearing that off the top of his head is Anthony Ortiz. That ball's still bouncing around. Correa knocks it down and swings it for Guillen. Guillen back to Correa. Back to Guillen. Guillen up ahead, gets it to Baskin Jr. Baskin Jr. picked up by Wallace. Good flip pass. Now quickly, it's Correa. Correa cuts back towards the middle of the field. He'll swing it across. It's Granados. Granados almost head on with the net. Swings it across, and here's Feliz Perez outside of the box. Feliz Perez, room to work. Tried to get that one inside. Goes off the shins of Liam Hughes and out of bounds. So the Knights' interior defense doing its job so far. 16:50 to play in what has been a quick first half. As that ball's thrown in by Feliz Perez. Noboa back for Feliz Perez. Back to Correa. Correa sends that one in deep, giving chase is Guillen. Guillen will catch up to it. Now Granados. Granados back for Feliz Perez. Feliz Perez still loose in front, getting a foot on it is Noboa, but right there is Horn. So Farmingdale, for the first time today, stringing together some offense. It culminates in a shot on goal. All the pieces were there, just a good stop from Horn, and we remain scoreless. Here now is Bevavino. Bevavino will swing it for Gutierrez. Gutierrez thought about it, will now swing it up ahead. Leaping effort from Guillen to get ahead on it. He'll knock it back the way of the Rams. Here's Baskin, guarded tightly by Mazzarelli, forced to pass it. Leaves it now, here's Hernandez. Hernandez guarded by Keyser. He'll work it upfield. It's Noboa. Noboa can't get a foot on it. It's out of play. It'll be a throw-in now for the Mount. Here's Hughes. Hughes quickly gets it in. It's Gutierrez now. Gutierrez thought about it. Now stops on a dime. Will turn it back downfield. Leaves it now for Allison. Allison gets the ball into Rams territory. Allison for Mark. Here's Mark now. Gets it back to Keyser, who gets it back to Mark, who gets it now to Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli picked up by Omar Hernandez. Mazzarelli, nice move. Mazzarelli room to shoot. Right at fast Dallas. Dallas knocks it down and falls on it. So the Knights' offense certainly has been aggressive, and they've certainly managed to create some opportunities for themselves. Just nothing to show for it yet. Now here's Guillen. Guillen leaves it for Ortiz. Ortiz will send that one straight up. Wallace in the area. He'll get a head on it. That'll carry him behind him. Tynan also gets a head on it, but that ball ends up out of play. Souvenir. Throw-in coming now for Johnny Guillen. That one fired in. Tynan gets a foot on it. Now gets it for Allison. Allison tried to get it back to Tynan. That pass turned over. Tynan tripping up Granados unintentionally, but doesn't really matter whether or not you meant to do it. The referee blows the whistle. Free kick coming for Farmingdale. Ortiz thought about it. Now fires away. Sends that one across the field. Hughes, good leaping effort. That one ends up out of play. Last touched by a Ram. Good defense there from the junior defenseman. As that one's fired up, it's Keyser. Keyser working with Omar Hernandez. Hernandez will win that battle. Can he keep it in play? Keyser, good defense. And the referees will say it'll go the way of the Rams, but Keyser, excellent defense there. Feliz Perez swings it in for Correa. Correa thought about getting it to Ortiz. Ortiz instead telling him to turn upfield. Correa boots it now, giving chases Baskin. Good job getting a foot on it. Baskin up ahead now. Here's Guillen. Guillen chases that one towards the end line. Kept in play. He's guarded tightly by Bevavino. Bevavino takes his lunch money. Good defense there from Sam Bevavino. That ball kicked back upfield and is corralled by Farmingdale. Correa tried to get back inside. Hughes will wear that off the top of the head. Here's Hernandez. Hernandez for Baskin. Baskin picked up by Wallace. Baskin cut towards the middle. Gets a shot off. That one well wide of the net. So that one harmlessly off the protective screen behind the goal. Your score, of course, if you're just now joining us, still 0-0. 2 shots on goal for the Mount compared to 1 for Farmingdale. 13 minutes and 18 seconds left to play here in this first half. Horn sizes it up. Will just swing it across for Allison. Allison back across the field for Bevavino. Baskin making the rounds. Bevavino's pass, a short one, picked off by Granados. Granados gets a shot off, but Horn able to fall on it. So Farmingdale taking advantage of the errant pass. Good defense there from Josue Granados. Picked that one off. Was able to get a shot off, but Noah Horn fell on it. Played that one off the ground. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we remain scoreless. Gutierrez tussled with Correa. Correa able to come away with it. Now here's Carlos Hernandez out of midfield. Right from the midfield line, now he'll swing it for Feliz Perez. Felice Perez puts the moves on, has a step, gets past Burgos. Felice Perez working it now, tried to get it inside, leaves it now for Granados. Granados guarded tightly by Hughes. Hughes gets a foot out there. Good poke check, but that ball stays in play. Granados fires that one off somebody's head. It'll go out of play. Last touch by Haram. Hughes thought about it. Now we'll fire upfield out of the reach of an intended target. Now Keyser gets it for Tynan. Tynan takes that one off the side of the head. Still manages to make a good pass. As that one ends up with Omar Hernandez. Hernandez will leave it for Dallas. Dallas won't pick it up. Instead, he'll send it back to where it came from. Bevavino wears that one off the top of the head. Here's Mazzarelli operating just outside of the C in MSMC. Mazzarelli now fires for Mark. Mark swings it back. It's Wallace. Wallace back to Tynan. Tynan back for Mark. Mark gets it for Bevavino. The Knights very careful with the ball on this possession. Mazzarelli picked up by fellow number 11, Baskin Jr. Mazzarelli stops, turns around, will swing it for Bevavino. Bevavino now for Tynan. Tynan now gets it past midfield. The Knights no longer operating out of their own end. It was a good pass up ahead. Here's Hughes. Hughes got a foot on it. Getting a foot on it is Felice Perez, but it takes a friendly bounce. Here's Burgos right around the corner, able to keep it in play, giving chase is Hughes. Hughes gets a foot on it, makes the pass for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli picked up by Felice Perez. Now Gutierrez. Gutierrez, guarded tightly by Carlos Hernandez, gets a pass off. It's Burgos. Burgos tried to get room to shoot. Left it up ahead. Here's Mazzarelli giving chase. The Rams want offside. They're not going to get it. Mazzarelli now right around the end line. And now it is offside. So a very late whistle from the referees, but play is ultimately blown dead. So that offensive opportunity stunted really before it got the chance to progress in any manner. As now Dallas leaves it for Ortiz. Ortiz up ahead for Noboa. That pass taken away. And now here's Gutierrez. Gutierrez sprinting with it. Almost has that one taken away by Baskin. Good last second pass. Leaves it for Tynan. Tynan up ahead giving chase. Mazzarelli. Leaping effort from Dallas. He's all 6'2" to snatch that one out of the air. An impressive leaping effort. Now here's Hernandez. Hernandez puts the moves on. Gets around Gutierrez. Hernandez now. Good. That pass blocked by Bevavino. Bevavino able to force that one straight up into the air. Gutierrez now leaves it back for Bevavino. Bevavino back for Hughes. Hughes swings it up for Mazzarelli. We are under 10 minutes to play in this first half. Not many stoppages as Mazzarelli's pass intended for Keyser. And now Mazzarelli lays a hit on Hernandez. A whistle and a foul. Now it's Hernandez back for Correa. Correa now streaking upfield, thought about it. Now we'll leave it for Guillen. Guillen puts the moves on. Now we'll try to swing it to Mark. Almost had that one taken away. Now here's Gutierrez. Gutierrez gets it for Bevavino. Bevavino back to Allison. Allison to Bevavino. Bevavino now up front for Gutierrez. Gutierrez leaves it now for Keyser. Keyser back for Gutierrez. The Knights operating on the Ram side of midfield, and that ball taken away. Hernandez able to poke check, and then he has something to say to his fellow teammates, perhaps directing some traffic on defense. The Knights forcing the ball inside with a fair sense of consistency. I mean, they haven't completely dominated, but the Knights certainly have had an abundance of opportunities. As Bevavino fires one up ahead, here's Keyser. It's Felice Perez with a leaping effort. That goes off his head. It'll be last touched by Felice Perez. And I believe this will be a corner kick now for the Knights. It will be a corner kick. Doing the honors is TJ Mark, and this is a good chance now for the Mount. With 8 minutes, 20 seconds left to play in this first half, this is a good chance for Mount St. Mary to draw first blood. Here's Mark placing the ball in the appropriate position. The Knights crowding the goalie box. Now here's Gutierrez in for a rain check should the Knights choose to use it. And now Mark will just leave it for Gutierrez, who leaves it back for Mark. Mark sends it towards the middle. Now the Knights crash. Burgos gets a head on it. Cairns off the side of the post, still loose in front. And a whistle. And what an opportunity that was for Mount St. Mary. A couple of inches to the left, and it's 1-0 Mount St. Mary. So out of the corner kick, the Knights let Mark leave it for Gutierrez, who leaves it back for Mark, who then works it inside That one goes off the head of Gutierrez. Unfortunately, didn't take a Knights friendly bounce. And we stay tied. Here now is Correa. Correa gets it up ahead. That one quickly worked back in for the mount. Correa guarded tightly by Guillen. Here's Guillen. Guillen and Mark get into it. A whistle and a stoppage. And a free kick coming for Farmingdale. Sizing up his options is Ortiz. Ortiz will just swing it across the field for Correa. Here's Josue Correa with some speed. Now tries to thread the needle, does so. Hernandez, good first touch, will leave it for Feliz Perez, who leaves it now across the field for Correa. He's guarded tightly by Tynan. Relentless defense from the senior captain, as Correa is just forced to fall on it. As Correa fires this one upfield, Allison gets a head on it. Here's J.C. Gutierrez. Gutierrez guarded by Hernandez, forced to send that one back deep. Here's Bevavino. Bevavino pushes that one upfield, giving chase is Keyser. Keyser, he's guarded by Omar Hernandez. Keyser and Hernandez grabbing each other. Tight defense there from both parties. That one ends up out of play. Keyser and Hernandez exchange words. Here now is Hughes. Hughes to throw it in. 6:12 to play here in this first half. Burgos will play it off a hop. He's tied up with Feliz Perez. Here's Granados pushing it upfield for Farmingdale. He's guarded tightly by Hughes. Hughes gets his foot in there. Granados maintains possession. Hughes stifles that pass. Sends straight back. Here's Guillen, and Guillen will leave it now for Dallas. Dallas doesn't pick it up. He'll send it downfield. He'll kick a moving ball. And Wallace and Baskin get tied up. That one ends up out of... No, it stays in play. Good job from Noboa to prevent that one from going out of play. But the Knights do come away with the ball. Here now with it is Gutierrez. Gutierrez swings it all the way up ahead, getting a foot on it as Ortiz, knocking that ball off course. It'll go out of play, out towards the far sideline. Throw-in coming for TJ Mark. Mark will swing it for Wallace. Wallace picked up by Noboa, so he'll swing it for Gutierrez. Gutierrez now for Mark. Mark again picked up by Noboa. That ball ends up somehow out of play. Throw-in now coming for Farmingdale. Now here's Ortiz. Ortiz swings it back for his goalkeeper, Dallas. Dallas swings it for Hernandez. Hernandez now puts the moves on Burgos, works it upfield, now passes, gets it to Feliz Perez. Now here's Burgos, picks up Feliz Perez. That ball passed the other way. Burgos tightly guarding the ball. That pass picked off. Here's Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli swings it now for Mark. Mark, room to shoot. He fires. That shot blocked. That's Anthony Ortiz on defense there for Farmingdale. And the ball, as of right now, out of harm's way. Farmingdale has managed to corral it. They just have to get it onto the Knights side of the field. As that pass taken away, Farmingdale having a tough time taking care of the ball. Beautiful pass up ahead. It's Keyser, sliding stop Dallas. That ball still loose. Keyser able to corral it, but another tailor-made opportunity for Mount St. Mary that they can't quite cash in on. Here's Correa. Correa now leaves it for Hernandez. Hernandez for Omar Hernandez. Back to Carlos Hernandez. That pass out of the reach of the latter Hernandez. The two collide. And now Burgos comes away with it. Burgos tried to get it up front for Keyser. Still loose. Burgos comes away with it somehow a second time. Sliding effort from Ortiz to knock that one out of play. But Farmingdale having a tough time taking care of the ball in their own end. And it has led to some trouble. Mount St. Mary certainly knocking on the door. They've certainly had plenty of opportunities. And frankly, Farmingdale is lucky they haven't cashed in on at least one. As now here's Guillen. Guillen with a little over 3.5 minutes to play here in this first half. Now taken away again, it's Mazzarelli. The Knights again forcing a turnover in their own end. Mazzarelli gets caught up. That ball still loose in front. Here's Correa. A whistle, a stoppage. And Mazzarelli down and shaken up. We hope he's okay. So the play is stopped to make sure Mazzarelli is okay. They did ultimately rule it a penalty, or rather a foul, not a penalty. A free kick is coming for Quinn Tynan just outside the corner of the box. The Knights were inches away from a penalty kick. The referee explaining the ground rules of the situation to Tynan. And the Knights, a free kick in an incredibly friendly spot on the field. You cannot get a free kick much closer to the net than this. This ball will almost certainly go onto the net, depending on what Coach Kevin Longacre chooses to draw up. The whistle is blown. Here's Tynan looking to make some magic happen. Tynan steps into one. We'll send that one towards the middle. That one blocked by the wall of Rams in front. Noboa knocks that one out of play for good. So it'll be a throw in again for Tynan. Tynan fires, tried to work that one towards the middle, intended for Burgos, leaping effort from Correa to get a head on it. Now the Rams try to push it right to left, and it's still loose. And it's knocked down by Dallas. So the Knights relentless in their pursuit of the game's opening goal, but so far the interior defense for Farmingdale has not yet cracked. And Farmingdale certainly making things harder for themselves than it needs to be. As that one again taken away, here's Tynan. Tynan thought about it, now pulls up, fires, that shot blocked by Hernandez. Allison gets a foot on it. The Knights looking to push it upfield. The Rams just looking for a way to stop the Knights from being on the attack. Granados leaves it for Hernandez, who leaves it for Ortiz. That ball rifled upfield. No Ram in sight, but at least it's not on the Ram side of the field. That one will go out of play behind the end line. And it will be a goal kick coming from Noah Horn. As Horn will just leave it for Bevivino. We are at the 2-minute warning, 2 minutes even and counting down here in this first half. Your score still 0-0. Here's Burgos. Burgos putting the moves on. Now fires. That pass leapt and knocked down by Ortiz. Ortiz leaves it for Correa. Correa gets it to Noboa. That pass taken away by Wallace. Allison and Tynan communicated. It'll be Allison who slings it for Tynan. Tynan now for Bevivino. Thought about it. Will now swing it across for Allison. Allison back now for Bevivino. Bevivino gets it to Tynan. 90 seconds to play here in this first half. Tynan now swings it for Mark. Mark up ahead. Nobody home. Dallas will play it off a couple of bounces. He won't pick it up. Will now just kick it softly. Leaves it for Guillen. Guillen for Correa. Back to Guillen. Guillen picked up by Mark. Forced to pass. Sends it away to William Guillen. Guillen, he's guarded by Tynan. He tries to push it upfield. Dale Allison is there on defense to take that one away. Wallace swings it now. Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli upfield. Gets it for Burgos. Burgos with room. He's picked up by Hernandez. Good defense there from Anthony Ortiz to knock that one away. Still loose. Well under a minute to play by this point. 44 seconds counting down. Wallace back for Allison. Allison back for Bevivino. Bevivino thought about it. He fires now. That one out of the reach of Liam Hughes in a full sprint. It will go out of play. Will go the way of the Rams. Under 30 seconds to play by this point. We'll see if Farmingdale has any offense for these last 25 seconds. Firing it away is Feliz Perez. Bevivino leaping, got a head on it. Feliz Perez also leaps. He also gets a head on it. That ball still bouncing around. Here's Burgos. Burgos thought about it, knocks it down. Will try to get it up ahead for Keyser. Now here's Keyser. Tried to leave it for Mazzarelli. That one deflected away by Hernandez. Under 10 seconds to play. Burgos and Carlos Hernandez get tied up. That ball continues to bounce around. Feliz Perez just fires it out of play. And ladies and gentlemen, that'll be what takes us to halftime here this early evening. Your score at halftime, Farmingdale 0, Mount St. Mary 0. A fairly exciting first half, and there were a whole lot of opportunities, mainly for Mount St. Mary, just unable to cash in so far. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Lucas Stackpole, and we will be back in 14 minutes and 40 seconds for the second half of Skyline Conference action. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second half of action. We're about ready to go, and ladies and gentlemen, it's time to party. Ryan Keyser sends it away, leaving it back deep for Quinton Tynan, and we're ready to go. It was an interesting first half, lots of fireworks. It was an incredibly quick first half. It was a fast first half. Nobody scored, no nothing. Defensive battle through and through here tonight. A quick whistle and an early stoppage, and we're ready to go. Here now is Ortiz. Ortiz will swing it for Guillen. Guillen rifles that one off a mark. That ball stays in play. And now here comes Hernandez. He'll swing it back now for Ortiz. Ortiz across to the middle of the field. Now it's Guillen. Guillen swings it for Correa. Correa has that one taken away by Burgos. Burgos with speed, all 6'5". He'll swing it now for Keyser. Keyser giving chase. Also giving chase is Omar Hernandez. Keyser now works it back outside the box. Swings it back downfield for Hughes. Hughes back to Keyser. Keyser gives it for Hughes. Now rifles that one all the way across. And that one taken away. Now here come the Rams, moving right to left now, wearing green. Here now is Ortiz. Ortiz will swing it. Giving chase is Baskin Jr. He's guarded tightly by Allison. Allison forces that one out of play. The referees will say this ball will stick with the Rams. So here comes a throw-in. Doing the honors, Valise Perez. Valise Perez will leave it short. Coming away with it now and operating at the middle of the field is Correa. Correa swings it across, gets it to Noboa. Noboa now for Guillen. Guillen guarded tightly by Mark. Mark gets a foot on that pass, takes a weird bounce inside. Allison gets a head on it. It caroms straight up. Leaves it now for Hernandez. Hernandez swings it for Hernandez. Hernandez leaves it for Hernandez, who leaves it for Ortiz. Now ball leaves all the way back for Hernandez. The Rams opening the second half, passing very methodically. Valise Perez tried to get it to Correa. Sliding stop used to knock that one away. Here's Ortiz now. Ortiz right around the middle of the field, swings it for Guillen. Guillen thought about it, now will swing it for Baskin Jr. Baskin, good first touch. He'll leave it now just to his left for Noboa. Noboa guarded tightly by Wallace. Noboa fires that one all the way across the field, trying to keep it in play as Granados can't quite. Will go out of play behind the end line. Throw in coming, or sorry, this will be a goal kick coming for Mount St. Mary. Here's Horn. Horn will just leave the ball on the ground. He'll leave it for Bevavino. Bevavino will swing it across the box for Allison. Allison thought about swinging it back across. The pressure there from Baskin forces Allison to pass. Leaping effort from Ortiz, getting a head on it, sends it right at Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli operating from the exact middle of the field, cuts through the circle, now cuts back. Now leaves it for Tynan. Tynan thought about it, tried to fit it in for Marsh. Couldn't do it. Now that ball swung for Guillen. Guillen all the way across the field, trying to play it off a bounce. Doing so successfully is Noboa. Now here's Noboa putting the moves on. Noboa cuts back towards the middle. Now we'll leave it. Try to leave it for Baskin. Baskin got a foot out there. Couldn't quite corral it. Guillen will leave it for Ortiz. Ortiz across for Guillen. Guillen and Guillen play catch. Guillen back to Guillen, who has Guillen on his left. He'll swing it to Guillen. Now here's Mark. Mark tried to get it to Tynan. Getting a foot on it is Hernandez. That pass just out of reach of Tynan. Correa tries to push it upfield. Wallace corrals it, giving chase in the Noboa. Wallace now puts a spin move on. He'll cut upfield. Wallace thought about it. Wallace now with speed. Another stop, another spin move. Noboa now face guarding him. Forced to pass is Wallace, sending it upfield. Keyser wears it off his chest. Now here's Mark. Mark dancing around the midfield line, swings it back for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli just outside the circle, leaves it now for Hughes. Here's Hughes, leaves it now for Burgos. Burgos putting the moves on. Getting just around, trying to get around Hernandez. Does. Burgos, good job keeping that one in play. Tried to swing it back towards the middle of the box. Nobody home. Still bouncing around. And now pushing it up for Farmingdale's Granados. Granados tried to get it through Gutierrez. Gutierrez got a foot on it, slowed that pass down, able to corral it and force it the other way. Here's Hughes. Hughes gets a foot on it, and he'll send it straight up. Leaping effort from Hernandez and Mark both. Tynan comes away with the loose ball, gets around to sliding Hernandez. He'll leave it for Keyser. Keyser guarded by Valise Perez. Picked up by Correa. Correa, good poke check. That ball still bouncing around. Correa comes away with it. Has to get rid of it. Swings it all the way across the field, giving chases Noboa. The ball deep within the Rams' own end. Correa back to Guillen. Guillen fires that one upfield. Baskin Jr. is in the area, couldn't get a body on it. Bevavino kicks it, sends it straight up, leaping effort off the top of the head of Guillen. Baskin able to corral it, swings it across the field, try to get it to Granados. That one goes out of play along the far sideline. It'll go the way of the Knights. So Liam Hughes to throw it in. Hughes gets it to Gutierrez. Gutierrez falls. Gutierrez falls with him. Falling again is Correa, and there's a whistle. And Correa a little shaken up. So multiple Rams telling the trainer to stay put. Correa took a hard hit from Burgos. We hope he's okay. He's good enough to at least remain in the game, but definitely walking a little gingerly. As Hernandez tries to get around Keyser, gets it through Keyser and Mark, swings it to Guillen. Guillen swings it across for William Guillen. William Guillen gets it to Noboa, who gets it to Johnny Guillen, who swings it to Hernandez, who swings it back to Johnny Guillen, who swings it back downfield for Omar Hernandez. So lots of similar first and last, or lots of duplicate first and last names for this Farmingdale team. Obviously, Omar and Carlos Hernandez, William and Johnny Guillen, and multiple Josue's with Josue Granados and Josue Correa. As that ball's still bouncing around, Hughes able to get a foot on it, able to knock it down. Trying to get around Valise Perez. That pass deflected. So Hughes operating deep out of his own end, knocks it down, stops, and fires it well upfield. Keyser guarded tightly by Guy. And Guillen able to take that one away. Sliding effort. Ends up out of play. And this ball will stick with the Rams. Coach Longacre directing traffic from the Knights sideline. Longtime Mount St. Mary head coach in his 14th season. The ball's still bouncing around off the throw-in. It's the Knights able to come away with it, so the struggles for Farmingdale in ball possession continue as Tynan leaves it for Allison. Allison swings it just off for Bevavino. Bevavino now working upfield. He'll get it to Gutierrez. Gutierrez now for Burgos. Burgos tried to get it past Valise Perez. Can't. Holds the arm of Valise Perez, which of course you cannot do. The referees quickly take exception. The whistle is blown. Swings it across, gets it to Guillen. Guillen leaves it for Ortiz. Ortiz upfield for Johnny Guillen. Guillen guarded tightly by Tynan. Tynan gets a foot in there, gets a poke check. Here's Tynan now working it left to right. Tynan has a step on Guillen, has a step on Correa. Tynan with plenty of speed now. Stops, tries to get one towards the middle. Keyser almost got on a foot on it. Good job from Anthony Ortiz. That ball is blasted out of play just to ensure the Knights can't work it in deep any further. And now on the throw-in, here's Liam Hughes. Hughes looks for the open man, takes the safest option. Short pass for J.C. Gutierrez. Gutierrez swings it towards the middle of the field for Tynan. Tynan gets a foot on it. Leaping effort from Omar Hernandez to get ahead on it, but that ball's still bouncing around. Getting a foot on it is Burgos. He was able to put it on the net, but nothing to show for it there. Dallas quickly swings it to Guillen. Guillen tries pushing it upfield. That ball ends up out of play just in front of the statistician's table. And we have a stoppage, a whistle, and a substitution. Coming back into the contest is Cam Welsh. He comes on in relief of Jeremy Burgos. Undoing Burgos is coming into the game at the latter half of the first half. Wallace now fires it in. Keyser will play it off a bounce. Wears it off his chest. Leaves it now for Welsh. Fresh into the game. Rushes Ortiz. Ortiz able to get that pass off. Kept in play by Wallace. Wallace now dancing around midfield. Will leave it towards the midfield circle for Bevavino as the Knights look to draw something up. Bevavino will get it to Hughes. Has that pass taken away. And now full sprint speed. Here's Valise Perez. Valise Perez stopped up by Hughes. Stops and goes. An impressive stop and start. That pass deflected in front. Still loose. And it bounces in. And that is how the scoring opens here tonight. A rather confusing goal. What an effort from Jason Valise Perez. Stop and start. Puts the ball on. If you put the ball on the net, weird things will happen. So either Valise Perez or Baskin will get credit for that goal. And either way, Farmingdale up 1-0 on one of the more unusual goals you'll see. And for as well as the Knights' defense has played, and really for as well as the Knights have played, I mean, you're expecting them to get the first goal. And even if Farmingdale was to score the first goal, draw first blood, you certainly don't expect it to come in that sort of fashion. So, Jason Valise Perez gets the apple, getting the goal, Tyree Baskin Jr. And the Rams up 1-0, and now they want more. Here's Baskin with a step, now stops. He's picked up by Allison. Baskin will leave it for Granados. Granados thought about it, spins, guarded tightly by Hughes. Granados forced to work it back downfield. Hughes playing nice defense. Hughes now forces the pass, gets it to Valise Perez. Valise Perez gets that one towards the middle. Bevavino gets a foot on it. That ball kicks straight up, ends over the head of Correa. It looked like he was in position to get a head on it, just couldn't quite get a body on it. That ball is loose now, and here's Mark. Mark pushes it upfield towards the middle of the field. Valise Perez in pursuit. Also in pursuit, Carlos Hernandez. Mazzarelli stops on a dime, now thinks about it. Swings it across the field, gets it for Keyser. Keyser takes a deep breath, dumps it towards the middle. Mazzarelli giving chase, and that's Vast Dallas taking it out of the sky for Farmingdale. So 34 minutes even and counting down. The Farmingdale Rams have scored first. It is 1-0. As Hughes wears that one off the head, try to get it to Tynan. Tynan couldn't quite corral it, now locks it down. Swings it upfield, now here's Mazzarelli with a step. He's guarded by Guillen. Mazzarelli, can he get around? No, he cannot. So good job working the ball inside. They want to get the ball to their goal scorer, Marco Mazzarelli, but a 1-on-3 statistics do not favor the lone man. As Farmingdale able to eliminate that. Now here's Guillen. Guillen leaves it back deep for Ortiz. Ortiz thought about it. Now that pass taken away by Mazzarelli. Dallas quickly has to get back in position. Gutierrez gets a shot off, deflected off somebody in front, but Dallas able to fall on it. So despite conceding the opening goal, Mount St. Mary has not shied away from the challenge. The response has been quite good. Couple of good opportunities. Now here's Farmingdale. Here's Hernandez. Hernandez gets it to Noboa. Noboa guarded by Wallace. Noboa will leave it for Carlos Hernandez. He's picked up by Allison. Allison forces it towards the end line. That one rifled across the field, giving chase Granados. Can't get it. Almost got it. It was a closer play than admittedly I thought it was going to be. Good job almost keeping it in play. But ultimately Granados the last man to touch it. That ball will go the way of the Knights. Here's Bevavino. Bevavino will swing it for Allison. Allison thought about it, stops, starts, fires it away. There's Allison knocked in on, gets it to Guillen. Guillen now for Noboa. Noboa can't quite corral it. Good takeaway there from Ethan Wallace. Wallace tried to get it to Keyser. Keyser, that pass just behind him, poked away by Anthony Ortiz. Ortiz now gets it to Omar Hernandez, who will swing it back to Ortiz. And Ortiz will just swing it all the way back for his goalkeeper, Dallas, who quickly returns it right back to Ortiz. Ortiz gets a step, moves around well. She'll push it upfield. Here comes Guillen. Johnny Guillen, now good first touch, rifles that one upfield. Staying onside is Noboa. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he can. Noboa stops on a dime, starts. Now here comes Wallace as that one's fired just high. So Farmingdale finding their groove on offense. Of course, the 1-0 lead, and they're a good possession with culminating in Luka Noboa. Nice shot on target. That one just high. So Horn didn't have to make the save, but Farmingdale already with the 1-0 lead, continuing to knock at the door. Here's Mark. Mark just swings it back for Allison. Allison operating out of the goalie box. Leaves the box now, swings it across the field now for Bevavino. Bevavino up ahead for Tynan. Tynan back to Bevavino. Bevavino plays it off a bounce. He's picked up by Baskin Jr. Baskin Jr. forces the pass. Here now is Mark. Mark guarded tightly by Correa. Mark thought about it, swings it behind him for Tynan. Tynan rifles that one across the field, giving chase as Wallace can't quite keep it in play. That one goes out of bounds. Throw incoming for Farmingdale, but not before a substitution. Number 21, Vincent Rabondo, coming into the game for Farmingdale. The first substitution for the Rams here tonight. As coming off is Baskin. That one bounced around, getting a foot on it is Hernandez. Good job just flicking that one downfield. Rabondo, fresh into the game, gets a head on it. Leaping again is Hernandez. Leaves it for Noboa. Noboa guarded tightly by Wallace. That one ends up out of play. Throw in coming from Mount St. Mary. Welsh wastes no time. He gets it to Keyser. Keyser picked up by Guillen. Keyser in front of the Knights bench, still guarded tightly by Guillen. That one poked out of play. Throw in coming. Guillen plays it for Ortiz. Ortiz swings it across. It's Dallas. That one blocked by Keyser. It'll go out of play. So it'll be a goal kick coming for Vast Dallas. A whistle, and the referee calls for the clock to be stopped as Dallas doesn't have an extra ball on him. As that one swung over. Dallas gets it to Hernandez. Hernandez gets it to Valise Perez, who leaves it now for Correa. Correa in the middle of the field will swing it back for Dallas. Dallas now kicks a moving ball, rifles that one upfield. It's Allison. Allison for Gutierrez. Gutierrez has that one taken away by Guillen. Guillen will leave it for William Guillen, who rifles that one upfield, giving chase is Allison. Also in pursuit, Rabondo. The two collide. Rabondo able to come away with it, swings that one back across the field. It will stay in play. Hughes towing the line, tries to get it upfield. That one is kicked off of Granados, out of play behind the end line. Coming into the game now, Coach Kevin Longacre will turn to his enforcer. Coming into the contest, Jack Hoffman coming off J.C. Gutierrez. So with 29 minutes, 5 seconds to play here in the second half, Farmingdale already up 1-0. Coach Longacre turns to his bench. As Allison sends it upfield, Guillen gets a play on it, guarded tightly by Hoffman, fresh into the contest. Welsh, poke check. That ball still bouncing around. Falling is Correa, and that's a whistle and a foul. Guillen swings it just behind him, gets it for Ortiz. Ortiz now well further behind him for Hernandez. Hernandez swings it upfield, try to get it to Granados. Good defense there from Hughes. Hughes now looking to turn some defense into offense, as with speed, it's Mazzarelli. And Mazzarelli will take that one with him out of play behind the end line. Goal kick coming for Dallas. And so now with the lead, now that Farmingdale has the lead, you can sort of forgive it, but the Rams still not taking great care of the ball from deep within their own end. Mount St. Mary, if you'll remember, had a lot of opportunities to close out the first half. And as is the usual happening in sports, if a team gets a whole bunch of offensive opportunities, a whole bunch of good offensive opportunities, and they don't make good on any of them, then the first opportunity the other side gets is usually successful, and that's certainly been the case tonight. As despite the Knights arguably being the better offensive team in the first half, there was nothing to show for it, and then Farmingdale, on the first opportunity of the second half, put it in the back of the net. And so now taking this goal kick will be Sam Bevavino. The Knights do have plenty of time, no need to hit the big red button just yet. Bevavino lofts that one. That will land just outside the perimeter of the midfield circle. Tynan will play it off a bounce, rifle it upfield. Giving chase is Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli has some room. Gets it past Mazzarelli. That ball's still loose in front. Anthony Ortiz able to turn it aside. And there's a whistle, a stoppage, and a penalty. So Mazzarelli able to draw a penalty the second time around. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're the Knights, this is the guy you want taking this kick. Mazzarelli, the team leader in goals. And honestly, it's not close. Mazzarelli with 8. The next closest, Jeremy Burgos with 3. So the senior captain on senior night. The moment was made for him. 8 goals in 14 games. looking for one more and the equalizer. The whistle is blown. Mazzarelli stops, sets, fires, and scores! Marco Mazzarelli's 9th of the year, and we're tied at 1. The captain answers the call. The focal point of the offense all season long picks up the equalizer. We're tied at 1. And the Knights cash in, making good on the penalty kick. And an already incredibly close game just got even closer. And ladies and gentlemen, we are in for an exciting last 26 minutes and 52 seconds as Rabondo sends it away. We'll see if the Rams have an answer. Correa leaves it now for Velez Perez. Velez Perez swings it back for Hernandez. Hernandez for Ortiz. Ortiz for Guillen. And of course that goal for Mazzarelli was an impressive one, but Farmingdale shot themselves in the foot. Just a bad penalty in the box as there's another whistle and another foul. And so Mount St. Mary will now look for the difference maker. Mazzarelli has taken a beating so far tonight. One play towards the end of the first half that probably should have been a penalty, and one play just now that turned out to be a penalty, and then takes a hard foul there. So taking this free kick is TJ Mark, but the Knights certainly playing with a new breath of life. Here's Mark directing traffic, gets the whistle, now fires away. Mark will send it in deep, the Knights crash hard. Bevavino leaps, he gets a head on it, but Dallas is able to handle that one. So fast, Dallas makes the save, and now can Farmingdale take care of the ball? The Knights force another turnover as Wallace, good leaping kick, just out of reach of fellow freshman Cam Welsh. That one will end up out of play. Keyser will leave it now for Wallace. Wallace back to Tynan. Tynan for Keyser. Keyser for Welsh. Welsh leaves it for Keyser, gets it back to Welsh. Hoffman gets out of the way, gives it back to Keyser. Keyser swings it for Tynan. Tynan thought about it, rifles that one off of Guillen. Getting a foot on it is Correa, but he's unable to clear it. Tynan corrals it. Rabondo comes in to check on him. And now here's Bevavino from well outside. Bevavino rifles that one in deep. Welsh is in the area. Him and Guillen both giving chase. Guillen will beat him there. And that one will end up out of play. Last touched by Guillen. So here comes a throw-in for the Mount. Welsh leaves it for Wallace. And Wallace on the throw-in. Tried to get it to Hoffman. Leaping effort from Guillen to knock that one off course. Now here's Correa. Good job trying to clear it. Bevavino right off the shins. Rifles that one back in deep. Goes off the chest of Guillen. Farmingdale just has to get it out of their own end. The Knights' pressure in the attacking third has been relentless, as that one ends up out of play. Another throw-in coming. Tynan wastes no time. Tries to get it in deep for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli, of course, just scored. Does he have another one? He'll leave it for Welsh. And a whistle. So Mazzarelli continues to take a beating, but he continues to draw fouls. This one coming from just outside the box. Another free kick from an incredibly favorable position for the Mount. Definitely a confusing angle to take a shot from, but they are certainly close enough to the net to have a plethora of options. We'll see what Coach Longacre draws up as the referee calls for the stoppage of the clock so he can place the Great Wall of Green in the appropriate spot. As of right now, TJ Mark set to be the kick taker. It will be Mark. The whistle blown. Mark directs traffic. The Knights crash hard. Leaves it up deep. Trying to go get it is Mazzarelli. He got a head on it. That ball ends up and over the cage, out of play. Coming in to the contest, or at least prepared to come into the contest. Right here on the near sideline, number 25, Chris Melgar, a freshman from Valley Stream, New York. Melgar comes on in relief of Carlos Hernandez. Here's Melgar. Melgar back to Ortiz. Ortiz, pressured by Hoffman, forced to just get rid of it. He fires it out of play. But it will be Knights' ball around midfield. So the Knights' relentless pressure in Farmingdale's own end has created plenty of good opportunities for them. Farmingdale definitely on their heels as Tynan sets one up, rifles one towards the middle of the field. Bodying it up is Hernandez. Mazzarelli now wears it off the chest. Now swings it back across for Hughes. Here's Hughes now has a step on Felice Perez, trying to get around him, sends that one back towards the middle. Sticking a foot out there is Hernandez. Good defensive effort. That one sent out of play behind the end line. It will be a goal kick. So Farmingdale can finally exhale. The pressure relentless so far for Mount St. Mary, especially after the equalizer. As Guillen directing traffic doesn't have anybody, forced to swing it back to Ortiz, and Ortiz pinned deep in his own end, as the Rams have been all night. That one out of play, last touched by a Knight. So we'll see if Farmingdale's able to work it up the field at all. Guillen thought about it, now commits, throws to Noboa. Noboa off his foot, off his chest, Karam straight up. The Rams able to retain possession, but they're still operating out of their own end. Guillen gets it back to Noboa, back to Guillen. Now for Correa, who swings it across the field, it's Felice Perez. Felice Perez picked up by Mark. Swung all the way upfield. Bevino gets a foot on it. Now here's Hughes. Hughes back for Tynan. Tynan stops and starts again. Sliding stop for the Mount. Now it's Melgar outside the midfield circle. He'll swing it behind for Ortiz. Back to Melgar. Melgar turns to Hernandez. Hernandez tells him to turn it upfield. Melgar tries to. That pass deflected, but it comes right back to Melgar. Melgar tried to get it to Rabondo. Rabondo couldn't quite corral it. Now here's Bevino. Bevino back to Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli up ahead for Tynan. Tynan thought about it. He'll rifle it upfield. Now here's Wallace. Wallace giving chase. Him and Guillen both in the area. Wallace gets there first, but Guillen able to corral it. He'll swing it now for Noboa. Noboa and the double team. Keyser and Welsh both. Noboa able to work his way around both of them. Now can he beat Tynan? No, he can't. Forced to pass. Swings it across. It's Guillen. Guillen knocks it down around midfield. Now giving chase is Granados. Can Granados keep it in play? Yes, he can. Now here's Farmingdale, and they're attacking third for the first time in what felt like ages. As now good move from Granados. Thought about it. Stops on a dime. Now swings it back behind him for Felice Perez. Felice Perez cutting towards the middle of the field. Mazzarelli tried getting a foot on it. Couldn't. Centering pass from Felice Perez. Nobody home. Horn wraps it up without too much pressure from Gangrene, and it'll end up out of play. Horn now waits, fires, drop kicks. That one knocked down by Correa. Correa is able to get it upfield for Rabondo. Rabondo now works it back for Melgar. Melgar swings it, tried to swing it for Granados. That one ends up out of play. It will go the way of the Knights. Hughes able to throw it in, leaves it short for Bevino. Bevino knocks it down, swings it up for Mark. Mark will now swing it for Allison. Allison from the top of his own goalie box takes a second, now rifles it upfield. Mazzarelli gets a foot on it. It caroms directly to Ortiz. Ortiz now gets it away for Melgar, who leaves it for Felice Perez. Now Felice Perez sends it upfield. It takes a bounce, giving chase is Wallace. Wallace guarded tightly by Noboa. Wallace just boxes Noboa out. It'll go out of play. Another goal kick for Noah Horn. So Horn leaves it for Bevino. Bevino swings it up ahead for Tynan. Tynan stops, puts the moves on, tries to get around Guillen, can't. That pass picked off by Granados. Guillen flips it in deep. Granados giving chase. Bevino gets a shoulder on it. Granados boxing out Bevino. It will be out of play, and it'll be a corner kick now for Farmingdale. The first corner kick of the contest for the Rams, so we'll see what kind of play Chuck Schimpf in his 23rd season has drawn up for the Rams. Doing the honors, at least as of right now, Josue Correa. It will be Correa as the Rams crowd the box. Guillen and Melgar just outside, and a lone man at midfield. Correa will send it in towards the middle. High arcing kick. Hernandez leaps, can't get a head on it. That ball still bouncing around the box. It's corralled by Granados, rifled in. That ball bouncing around like a pinball. Tynan now able to come away with it. Now here's Tynan with speed. He has Hoffman off to his right. Thought about it, now stops, waits for numbers. Tynan swings it across. Here's Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli stays on side. Anthony Ortiz there in defense. Mazzarelli back towards the middle. It's Hoffman. He got a foot on it. That ball straight up, still loose in front. And Dallas able to fall on it. What an opportunity there from the Mount and the Knights bench. And Knights faithful alike, energized. And electrifying almost for the Knights. As things slowly simmer back down, Tynan knocks it down, thought about it a second time. We'll just swing it off for Hughes. Hughes gets it now to Bevavino. Bevavino leaves it for Mark. Mark gets it to Tynan. Tynan works it up ahead, giving chase is Hughes. He's guarded by Valise Perez. Hughes gets a foot on it, tried to send it towards the middle. A little too much power, but Mazzarelli able to knock it down, works it around the end line. Getting a foot on it is Noboa. They're going to say Mazzarelli was the last player to touch it. Throw in coming for Farmingdale, moving right to left. That ball fired in by Guillen over everybody. Allison quickly sprints in. Good job sending that one back deep. Goes off the top of the head of Hoffman. Mazzarelli is there. He's picked up by Hernandez. Hernandez has enough room to at least get a pass off. Leaves it for Valise Perez. Valise Perez rifles it out of play. Back on the Knights side of midfield. So a throw-in coming from just outside their own end. As that ball's fired in from Hughes. Hughes tried to get it to Tynan, couldn't. Out of play. Tynan thought about it. Now he'll just leave it for Hughes on the throw-in. 16-16 counting down. Your score 1-1 between Farmingdale State College and Mount St. Mary College. As Bevavino leaves it for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli, nifty move, stops on a dime, shakes Robondo, now swings it for Tynan. Tynan will fire. Dallas will play it off a short hop. Goes to his knees, wears that one off the chest. The 7th save of the contest for the first-year goalkeeper. Ortiz waits for an opening, doesn't get one, rifles that one all the way downfield. There isn't a ram there, but the Knights are going to have to operate from way within their own end. Allison gets some power behind this throw-in. Getting ahead on it is Guillen. He'll leave it for Robondo. Robondo gets it to Noboa. Noboa swings it for Guillen. Guillen back for Melgar. Melgar back towards the middle of the field for Hernandez. Hernandez back to Valise Perez. Valise Perez triple teamed. Swings it back away for Ortiz. Ortiz swings it again for Guillen. Guillen leaves it now for Melgar. Melgar up ahead, it's Robondo. Robondo got it tightly by Allison. Robondo forced to work it all the way behind him. It's Correa. Correa guarded by Mark. Mark picks up Valise Perez and then picks up Correa again. Correa and Tynan collide. Correa able to retain possession. Tynan able to intercept that pass, though. That ball's still bouncing around. Farmingdale does come away with it. Granados swings it to Correa. Correa swings it up along the far sideline. Trying to run it down is Valise Perez. He cannot. And so it will be a goal kick for the Knights. Your score still 1-1. 14.5 minutes left to play. The sun has disappeared completely. A beautiful day has turned into a beautiful, cool night. And it's a good night for soccer as Welsh. Turf Monster gets the freshman. Welsh falls. And Farmingdale catches a bit of a break as they're able to work it all the way back to their goalkeeper, Dallas. Hughes will wear that one off the chest. Here now is Valise Perez. Valise Perez swings it to Correa. Now here's pushing it up. It's Granados. Granados tried to get it to Robondo. Allison puts the stop on, does so. Allison now swings it to Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli, the lone goal scorer tonight for the Knights. Swings it up. Good stop. Noboa now in transition elects to let Mazzarelli go. Mazzarelli walks it across towards the middle of the field. Tynan directly in the midfield circle will swing it for Mark. Mark stops on a dime, now gets started. Now stops again. Here's Mark, picked up by Correa. Ball still bouncing around. Farmingdale able to come away with it, but can they get it out of their own end? Swings it up ahead. It's Guillen with Tynan and Hoffman in quick pursuit. Now giving chase is Robondo. Allison able to come away with the ball. He'll leave it for Horn. Horn doesn't pick it up, sends it right back to sender. Tynan takes it off the chest. Leaves it for Hughes. Hughes will swing it to Hoffman. Hoffman right around the midfield line, takes that one off the bottom of the shoes. That ball continuing to bounce around. Here's Correa. Correa for Robondo. Robondo will swing it for Noboa. Noboa guarded by Wallace. The Rams deep in their own attacking third, looking to make something happen. Noboa with a step. He'll send that one back towards the middle. Robondo got a foot on it. Mazzarelli corrals it. Now the Knights will go left to right. Here's Welsh with a step. Guillen catches up to him with ease. Good stop on a dime from Guillen. Transition defense. Nicely done there from Farmingdale. Here now is Tynan. Tynan back towards the middle of the field. Tried to get it in deep to Welsh. Getting a foot on it is Ortiz. Ortiz leaves it for Melgar. Melgar stops, waits. Sends it up ahead for Noboa. Noboa now gets a step on Welsh. Noboa now past midfield. Picked up by Keyser. Noboa now cuts back towards the middle of the field, looking for a teammate to pass it to. He has Correa inside the box. That pass a little errant, but Correa wide open enough to where he can run that one down. Correa guarded by Mark. Pass up ahead, intended for Granados, just out of reach. Coming back into the game for the Knights, number 30, Jeremy Burgos. He'll come on in relief of number 28, Jack Hoffman. The whistle blown, clock resumes once Horn kicks the ball. Horn leaves it for Allison. Allison directing traffic, looking for an open man. Good pass for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli knocks it down, operating just outside the midfield circle. He'll swing it to Tynan. That pass blistered up ahead, bouncing around. Tynan all the way back for Horn. Horn catches it, holds it for a second. Now rolls it for Mazzarelli. For Bevavino, who leaves it for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli guarded by Correa. Mazzarelli working it up along the far sideline. Stops, waits, sends it back towards the middle. It's Tynan playing it off a bounce. Tynan pushes that one up ahead. There's Welsh with speed. Dallas is there. Dallas fields it. Will immediately roll it off to his left. Gets it to Guillen. Guillen's pass nearly picked off. And getting whistled for a foul is Vincent Robondo. So Dale Allison, good job from the sophomore defenseman to draw a foul. Free kick coming for the Knights. Sam Bevavino from a foot to the left of the midfield line. Bevavino waits. And with a powerful leg like Bevavino, you can just assume he's going to put it in deep and the Knights are going to crash. That kick left a little short. Burgos leaping to get ahead on it, all 6'5". Now here's Velise Perez. Velise Perez has that kick blocked. Somehow that ball stays in play. As now it's Burgos leaving it for. And now here comes Correa. Correa tried to get it. Now here's Granados. Granados with a step. He's picked up by Allison. Granados stops. He'll leave it for Correa. Correa gets a shot off. Fires. Horn snatches that one out of the air. So Farmingdale continues to knock on the door, but Noah Horn has an answer for that one. And now here come the Knights moving left to right. Under 10 minutes to play now. 9:59 and counting down. Both sides a goal apiece. Each one looking for the go-ahead goal. And, of course, this game, we mentioned it earlier, has an impressive amount of playoff implications. That one's bouncing around. It's loose in front. Good sliding stop from Hernandez. That ball bouncing around. Dallas waves everyone else off. But the Knights are knocking on the door. And as of right now, Farmingdale sits at 3-1-3. The Knights right behind them at 2-2-3. And the Knights right now sitting at 6th in the skyline, meaning they would be the last team in the playoff picture if the season ended today. Farmingdale comes in at 5th, just ahead of the Knights. So 3 points here for the Mount would not only give them the tiebreaker, it would move them into the 5th seed and give them a little bit more breathing room. And now Farmingdale, it's Hernandez. Hernandez swings it across the field for Correa. Correa picked up by Tynan. Tried to work that one in deep, and now here's Hughes. Hughes with some speed. The Knights have numbers. Mazzarelli, Tynan, and Burgos all in full sprint. Hughes with the ball. It's a 4-on-3. Hughes tried to get it. That one poked away by Ortiz. Still bouncing around. It's Tynan. He's guarded tightly by Hernandez. Good job from Hernandez to force Tynan out of the goalie box. Tynan's pass tried to leave it for Hughes. Hughes able to got a foot on it, but he couldn't corral it. Now here's Mark, cuts towards the middle of the field. Hernandez throws a shoulder. Here's Mazzarelli again. He's picked up. Mazzarelli thinks about it, leaves it now for Mark. Mark tries to work that one inside. Hernandez giving chase. Mazzarelli giving chase. Centering pass. Nobody home. And that one will end up out of play along the near sideline. Untouched. It'll go the way of the Rams. A whistle and a stoppage as there's a Ram shaken up in the goalie box. And as the referee calls for the trainer, we will take a brief step aside. The appropriate medical attention has been given, and we are back into the swing of things. 8 minutes counting down, and what is an as-advertised marquee matchup here tonight. 1-1 your score between the Knights and the Rams. Farmingdale opened the scoring here tonight with a goal earlier in this second half. Then Marco Mazzarelli hammered home his 9th of the year to bring us at 1 apiece. 7:40 left to play, definitely nearing the finish line, but definitely plenty of time. As Welsh tried to work it towards the middle, hit somebody in front. Now it's Mazzarelli. That one ends up just to the left of the net. And what a beautiful opportunity that was there from Mount St. Mary. The Knights so desperately looking for the go-ahead goal, especially with all that it could mean in the plethora of tiebreaker scenarios in the playoff picture. As Allison will play it off a bounce, that one goes off the hand of Rabondo. The referees don't see it. But either way, it'll go out of play. So the referees do see it. The referees lay down the law. A bit of a delayed call, though, as here now is Allison. Thought about it, now stops under 7 to play. Allison fires this one with some muscle behind it. Burgos wears it off the top of his head, but there's nobody behind him. And it trickles harmlessly to Vass Dallas. Dallas thought about it. He'll swing it for Ortiz. The Knights' pressure in the Rams' own end has been relentless and will continue to be. Allison wears it off the top of the head. Now for Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli guarded tightly by Correa. He'll leave it for Burgos. Burgos and Ortiz tied up. Burgos fouls Ortiz. The whistle is blown. Here's Correa looking to push it upfield. Picked up by Mazzarelli. Correa gets upfield off the side of the head of Wallace. Stays in play, the Knights come away with it. Here's Tynan. Tynan moving with it now, has a step on Guillen. Thought about it. Now falls. And here comes Melgar. Melgar picked up by Mark. Melgar will swing it now for Correa, under 6 minutes to play. Correa leaves it for Noboa. Noboa picked up by Wallace. Noboa will watch it towards the middle of the field. He'll swing it now for Melgar. Melgar all the way across. It's Josue Granados. Farmingdale looking to create some separation between the Rams and the Knights in the playoff standings. Here now is Veliz Perez firing that one just to the right of the net. Out of play behind the cage between the back of the net and the protective screen and behind the goal. And here now is Horn. Horn thought about it. Will now swing it for Bevavino. Bevavino now for Hughes. Hughes back to Mark. Mark pushing upfield. Back on the Rams side of midfield. Mark pushing it up. Here's Welsh with a step. Welsh with speed. Under 5 to play. Welsh falls. Able to put that one on the net, but can't quite beat Dallas. Here's Guillen. Guillen now puts a move on Noboa. Noboa now knocks it down. Impressive to withstand the sliding effort from Allison. That one ends up out of play. As a whistle, the referee calls for a stoppage of the clock, as time is of the essence. 4:36 to play. Coming back into the game, Tyree Baskin Jr., the lone goal scorer for the Rams. Both sides just looking for the go-ahead goal, looking for a decision, as both teams have tied 3 times this year. Free kick coming for Correa. Correa directing traffic. The Rams will pack the box. Correa taking the kick. Only 3 other Rams not in the box. Correa will send it in deep over the net. That one takes a friendly bounce off the pole behind the net and ends up right into the hands of Horn. Horn will place it on the ground and immediately send it away. Place kick from Horn. We're under 4 minutes to play. Your score still 1-1. Buckle up, folks. It's going to be an incredible finish. As here now is Melgar. He's picked up by Burgos. Melgar works it back towards downfield, and now we'll just leave it for Dallas, his goalkeeper. Dallas doesn't bother to pick it up. Rifles that one right back to where it came from. That one ends up out of play. Valise Perez to throw it in for Farmingdale. He'll swing it now for Guillen. Guillen gets it to Hernandez, who gets it to Dallas. Dallas again booting it downfield. Now here's Hughes. Wears that off the top of his head. Here's Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli swings it. Tried to get it to Welsh. That one well out of his reach. Guillen gets a foot on it. Knocks it down. He now leaves it for somebody. And a bug just landed me on the broadcast booth in the worst possible time. As there's 3 minutes left to play and counting down. Not only are we in the crunch time of an incredibly important conference soccer game, I am also deathly afraid of bugs. So having anyone near me is incredibly unideal. As here now is Tynan. Tynan pushes it up for Welsh. Welsh, guarded by Guillen. Welsh will fall. He'll draw a foul. And now a free kick coming head on. So Tynan is about halfway between the top of the box and midfield. But he is about head on with the net. So he is certainly strong enough to shoot it if they let him. But it's a matter of what Coach Longacre decides to draw up. Tynan immediately to his right has Ethan Wallace. He has Liam Hughes behind him. Wallace crashes the box, as do the rest of the Knights. Tynan leaves it up ahead. Leaping effort from Valise Perez. Mazzarelli knocks it down, working it along the end line. That ball's still loose. It's flicked up and caught by Dallas. They're going to say that ball was out of play anyway. And ladies and gentlemen, we have dipped under the 2-minute warning. A whistle, the referee. Dallas not happy. Dallas and the referee exchanging words. The Knights faithful making their opinions on the first-year goalkeeper known. As Ortiz's kick booted downfield. Allison is tied up with Baskin, ends up out of play off the head of Allison. Here's Noboa. Noboa swings it in, gets it to Correa. Correa guarded tightly by Tynan. Correa will leave it for Guillen. Guillen swings it back across the field. Here's Melgar. Melgar swings it now for Ortiz. Granados now will swing it back to Melgar. Hughes gets a foot on it, kicks it straight up. Welsh in the area, can't quite corral it. Ortiz, good job boxing him out. He'll leave it back deep for Guillen. Guillen picked up by Keyser. Guillen, good pass on the ground. He'll swing it to Johnny Guillen. So Johnny Guillen from William Guillen now operating. He'll stop on a dime, turn around, swing it back for Ortiz. Ortiz gets it to Melgar. Melgar guarded by Mazzarelli. Melgar leaves it for Correa. Correa thought about it. We'll leave it back deep for Guillen. Guillen will swing it for Ortiz. Ortiz towing it right along the near sideline. Back up for Johnny Guillen. Here's Johnny Guillen with a little bit of room to work. Thought about it. We'll try and get it back towards the middle. That pass intended for Baskin is picked off. And ladies and gentlemen, we are under a minute to play. That one rifled all the way upfield. Now here's Burgos with a step. Hernandez steps up, throws a body. He is dragged to the ground. That's a whistle, a stoppage. as some late game physicality. All sorts of shoving, and now Dallas goes after Burgos. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a boxing match. And so an incredible amount of tension finally boiling over, a shoving match to behold. 33 seconds left to play. Your score still 1-1. Neither side happy with the other, neither fandom happy with the other. And ladies and gentlemen, if there weren't fireworks before, there certainly will be for the last 33.1 seconds. They're going to need a shopping receipt for all the penalties both sides are about to receive. The referee's commiserating surely about how many yellow cards to distribute, maybe even red cards. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been an absolute joy to commentate here this afternoon. A little cherry on top. Some late game competitiveness boiling over. So the referees surely compiling a starting 11 worth of rule breakers. So a yellow card to Burgos and a red card to the Farmingdale bench. A yellow card to the Farmingdale goalkeeper, Vass Dallas. Much to the delight of the Mount faithful. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been one of the more exciting 1-to-1 games you'll ever see. What an interesting contest this has been tonight. So the referee has laid down the law, and don't go anywhere. Heard a boxing match and a soccer game broke out. 33 seconds left to play. Coming into the game for the last 30 seconds, number 1, Rocco Dispensary. So 33.1 seconds. Your score still 1-1. Plenty of fireworks, both soccer and non-soccer related. As set to take this kick after all sorts of madness is William Guillen. Guillen fires it downfield. Welsh left, tried to block it. Tynan wears it off the top of the head. Correa tried to wear it off the top of the head. That one deflects off his shoulder, giving chase Josue Granados. Granados able to boot that one upfield, giving chase Baskin. That one knocked down. Hughes wears it off the top of his head. Now it's Mazzarelli. Mazzarelli for Keyser, 13 seconds. Keyser boots it upfield, giving chase as Welsh, under 10. Welsh wears that one off the foot, tries to beat Guillen. Guillen, good defense there to poke it away. Rifles that one back upfield, and ladies and gentlemen, that'll take us to the finish line here tonight. What an interesting contest we had here. Your final score, 1-1. So there was a little bit of everything. Highlight reel goals, fights, yellow cards, whatever you wanted out of a soccer game, ladies and gentlemen. It was probably addressed at some point during this game. But either way, Farmingdale manages to stay ahead of the Knights in the Skyline Conference standings. They'll stay in 5th at 3-1-4. Mount St. Mary will fall to 2-2-4. So, I mean, obviously, both sides surely came into this one hoping for a decision, but a point each will surely satisfy most. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I'm Lucas Stackpole. Thank you so very much for making me a part of your Saturday afternoon and now your Saturday evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you as always for listening. And I believe the next set of games are Wednesday the 29th for men's and women's games against St. Joseph's Brooklyn. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for tuning in, and I will be back for the next one.